Where does he rank on the list of the 5 best quarterbacks in the AFC? I've asked Canty to put together the 5 best because I'm looking forward to seeing Rodgers. Now, we're going to start with 1. We usually start with 5, but we figured 1 is going to – we all know who 1 is going to be.
Sure, we all know who number 1 is. It's Pat Mahomes, right? What's understood ain't got to be said. So Pat Mahomes, number 1, future Hall of Famer Pat Mahomes. Number 2 –
Okay, that's going to be – I would guess 2 is going to be Rodgers.
No.
Okay.
No, why would you guess that?
Well, I'm just
No. We're going to go with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is number 2. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, number 2. He was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. It's been over a decade since Aaron Rodgers has been to the big game. So he's number 2.
Okay. Number 3 has got to be – I got to believe that number 3 is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Not quite. Josh Allen. Josh Allen of Buffalo Bills fame. This is a guy that had his team in the conference championship game 3 years ago. Josh Allen has 4 times as many playoff wins in the last 3 years as Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
4 times.
All right. So now, so you put the big 3 ahead of him.
Fair enough.
4 has to be Rodgers.
No, number 4 is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert from the LA Chargers. Now, Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't in the playoffs last year. His team was. And the last time we saw Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, his offense scored a grand total of 10 points. At least Justin Herbert can say that his offense scored slightly more than that down in Jacksonville.
Okay, so
all right.
1 is Mahomes, 2 is Burrow, 3 is Allen, 4 is Herbert. I have to believe 5 is Aaron Rodgers.
Not quite. Not quite, Greeny.
There's no way. I can't.
Quite.
I refuse. I don't even want to know who it is. I don't want to know who it is.
You do want to know who he is.
Who is it?
The first overall pick from 2 years ago, T-Law. Trevor Lawrence, that dude.
Trevor Lawrence.
That dude. Trevor Lawrence.
Was Trevor Lawrence even born when Aaron Rodgers won?
Probably not. But Trevor Lawrence got a playoff win more recently than Aaron Rodgers.
True.
Trevor Lawrence did have a top 8 QBR since week 9 of last year, and his team is ascending. All of these players are ascending. Aaron Rodgers is a descending player. This guy is going into his age 40 season. He's not a better athlete than these guys. He doesn't have more arm talent than any of those guys on that list.
You know something? If you weren't so darn big, we would have problems right now. All right?
It's all facts, though, Greeny.
In my entire life, I've never thrown hands. I don't even really know exactly what that means. But I will say this, Aaron, on your behalf, I would do it. I would do it. I will do it. Ninko, help me. Rodgers isn't even top 5. Would you rather have Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence this year than Aaron Rodgers?
Not Trevor Lawrence. So, Canty, I love the list, man. Number 1, yes. Number 2, yes. Number 3, yes. Number 4, yes. Number 5, it's a stretch. I mean, I know Trevor's been playing well, but I would put Aaron at 5. I would put him at 5 because it's Aaron Rodgers, and he was a 2-time MVP not very long ago. And Greeny, I don't want to see you throwing hands. I never want to see you throw hands, especially Canty would just have to stick. Canty would just stick his arm out and just hold you like the little brother thing, and you'd be missing and swinging. But we don't want to see the throwing of hands. But I would say that, Canty, I love the list. I love 1 through 4. Number 5, disagree.
Just so people understand, Canty's so big, I cannot see Ninko from here. He is blocking my vision of Ninko, who's on this massive screen. Where's Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
6'3", 6'2", 6'3".
What number is he on the list?
Well, we don't know if he's going to be in the AFC.
No, but would he be on the list? Would he be ahead of Rodgers? Are you putting Rodgers 7th now?
Ahead of Trevor Lawrence? Or,
that's close. Yeah, I would put him slightly ahead of Trevor Lawrence.
So you're putting Rodgers at this point at best 7th?
Yes. In the conference.
Here's what I figured out. Canty is a brilliant man, okay? This is a brilliant man. You're making him mad. Isn't that what you're doing? We all know that an aggrieved Aaron, it's a psychology.
Yes, absolutely.
So we should...
I want good things for you and the rest of the Jets fans.
Yes.
I'm a New Yorker. I got a lot of friends that are Jets fans.
So I endorse this because what this is going to do is it's going to get... I want Rodgers on a scorched earth tour. I want him... Aaron, I want you angry. And so I want you angry at him. I want you to I want you to picture as you're working out like Clubber Lang in Rocky III. I want you sitting there in a dark room, which you're very comfortable with, and just doing push-ups and sit-ups and other ups, that whatever it is that it takes in order to go out there and go on a scorched earth tour and show everybody that Lamar Jackson and Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert are not better. How about that?
I'd love to see it.
Me too.
He's got to prove it, though.
All right, I'm throwing one more piece of paper because that was
fired
so
up
ridiculous. Okay, well done on the list, even though I hated it. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm the most pessimistic person in the world, and so the idea that even I think that the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers is a slam dunk home run, or in this case, maybe like a touchdown with the two-point conversion is the better analogy, then that says what it says. But it is inarguable that there are a lot of fans of the Jets and others out there who are very worried that this thing goes sideways, who are worried about Rodgers' personality, about his leadership or whatever the concerns might be, that maybe last year was a sign of decline more than it was the injury or anything like that. What is the response to those people who say this thing with Aaron Rodgers is actually going to blow up in their face?
I would say pump the brakes on that. I think you're going to get a highly motivated Aaron Rodgers. We've seen anytime he's been slighted, anytime that something the team has done, he's taken it as a personal affront, you've gotten the best version of him. Think back a few years when they drafted Jordan Love back in 2020. Aaron Rodgers goes back-to-back MVP seasons. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that the New York Jets are competing for a title based on the version of Aaron Rodgers that shows up in Florham Park. But I would say, if you're a concerned Jets fan, the organization needs to get him in the building sooner rather than later, because we're talking about a guy starting anew in a place that's completely unfamiliar to him. He's been 18 years in Green Bay. Now he's going to a different team. You need time to get acclimated to your new teammates, the organization as a whole, and your new surroundings because you're going to a new city. That's the part where, if you're the New York Jets front office, you consider paying the premium that the Green Bay Packers are asking you to because of the value of what Aaron Rodgers is bringing to your organization.
I know, and that's what the Packers are counting on, and that's the part of it, is that they're counting on the fact that the Jets have more urgency and more desperation, if you will, in this than they do. The Packers have no rush. The Jets have at least some reason for rush. Help me, Ninko, because I'm trying to convince the Jet fans they should be feeling great about this thing. If someone said to you, this thing is going to go sideways on us, what is it you say?
Well, this is what I would do, Greeny. I would go in my closet and I would get the softest sweater that I have. And I will personally come to New York and I will give you a big hug and you'll have a nice shoulder to cry on, because I know it will be devastating for you. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets and it doesn't work out, there are going to be a lot of fans that are crying and need some comfort and consolement. So I'll be there for you, Greeny. I will.
Well, I appreciate that, and you know the love that I have for you, and that is very nice of you. And he means this, by the way, when he says it. But I'm the one who thinks this is going to work, and I'm the one talking all of them into it. And if I may just briefly come over here for a second so that I can get Graziano into this conversation. All these fans who were talking about don't let him wear number 12. Joe Namath has endorsed him wearing the number 12. If Joe doesn't mind him wearing number 12, why should anybody else mind him wearing number 12?
No one should. I mean, I think what you're talking about is a fan base is just sort of used to being miserable, right? And is inclined that way and is going to have a hard time breaking out of it. What'd you say their last home playoff game was?
20 years ago.
Come on.
Everything we've tried hasn't worked. We drafted two quarterbacks in the top three. One of them is terrible.
Right.
And the other one is the worst pick ever. So, I mean, what the hell are we worried about?
Did it go bad? Yeah, he's going to be 40. There isn't a lot of evidence of quarterbacks playing well beyond that age, but when they go with the 23-year-old, it doesn't work out. So what do they have to lose?
There's some very recent evidence of a guy at that age playing well. That's exactly right. Come on, let's live with this thing here. Everything we've tried for 50 years has stunk. Let's give it a go with one of the best players of all time. It is beneficial to the Packers to wait until after June 1st. Yeah. And it doesn't hurt them in any way until week 1 of the season. So there's really no urgency on Green Bay's part.
Right. So the post-June 1st thing is, so they're going to have $40 million in dead money once they trade him for Rodgers. If they wait till after June 1st, they can take 15 of that this year and float 25 into next year. You're going to have to pay it at some point anyway.
Right.
So it's not like if you can absorb it all on your cap this year, it's actually smart to do it. I don't think that is going to hold anything up. But it does give Green Bay the ability to say to the Jets, you don't want to give us a little more of what we want, then we can wait. It's actually to our advantage to wait. So it's all really posturing and negotiating, which is what's going on. They're not stuck. They're not at an impasse, right? It's not like they've called off talks. They're talking and they're trying to get to an agreement. It feels urgent because Rodgers went on McAfee a couple days ago and tried to push the Packers along, but I don't get the sense the Packers are going to react to that. But these kinds of conversations are happening all over the league about other players that we just don't know about, trade conversations. It's only been 2 days since Rodgers went on McAfee. That's only half of a darkness retreat. We've got time to get this all figured out.
By the way, I'm looking into mine. For all the fans who are saying, Greeny, I will do it. I'm doing it. There's no question I will do it. Right now, the place is booked through November of 2024.
Yeah,
so
you got him some club.
I'm working on this. Anyway, here's the question I will ask. I'm going to change up on the fly what we were otherwise planning on doing, Canty, and that is, let's talk about the urgency, okay? Because both these guys, if you were just joining us this morning, both Canty and Ninko said this is a team that if they get a quality Aaron Rodgers, if they get Rodgers that looks something like the one that he was 2 years ago, this is a team that could have Super Bowl aspirations. So what is the deadline for that? Fans are yelling at me in the street, Greeny, when do they need to get him here? What's the answer to that? When does it start to become a problem that could impact their chances of being what we want them to be this year?
First day of training camp. There are ways to...
So not until then. That's
not until
late
then.
July.
First day of training camp. Because it's hard for me to envision a team with championship aspirations not falling behind if you don't have your quarterback there day one.
But how about
when
all
the rest
this
of the league is
voluntary work?
Well, there's ways to navigate around that, Greeny. I mean, listen, you don't have to be in Florham Park to host your own organized team activities. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you pull a Tom Brady, you do what he did in the middle of a pandemic down in Tampa, Florida. You get the offensive guys together. Hell, you can get the entire team together out in Southern California, and you guys can work off of the script that Rob Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett outlined for what a practice needs to look like. You can do that without the coaches.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Go ahead.
Can he do that if he is technically under contract to another NFL team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams threw together all the time. So, I mean,
you can get together with your buddies and throw.
Yeah, you can get together and do that with your team, with those guys all the time.
I'm
so you
all
don't
in.
have to
You
be
can't go
in
throw
Florham
you
Park.
can't go throw for Jets coaches right now.
Yeah, you can't have the coaches around, but you can have the players there.
I'm organizing these workouts. Let the record show. I am going to put these workouts together. Get me Garrett Wilson's number, get me Elijah Moore's number, get me Lazard's number. I'm putting the workouts together, Ninko.
Call Shefty and get Rodgers' number.
That's a very good line. If he tells me to lose it, I'll live with it. Okay, Ninko, if he doesn't get there until training camp, does it have an impact on your prediction that they could be a Super Bowl contender?
No, I'm with Canty on this one. When you're a veteran, you don't really need the offseason. I know that sounds, maybe a little bit silly, but the offseason is for the young guys. It's for the 1st through 4-year guys that are trying to figure out, how do I get my body ready to go for the season? Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that. He knows what he needs to do to get ready to go. Now, the only thing that he needs to do with a new team is to work on timing, to work on the offensive verbiage of the system towards everyone else so they know what page they're on. And they'll be able to do that through training camp. You have basically a month to go into training camp, to have everyone get on the same page, to learn the timing with your receivers. So I think they'll be perfectly fine if he's there for training camp.
All right, so again, let the record show that it will be a new offense for everybody. Rodgers probably knows it better than anybody currently with the Jets. Nathaniel Hackett's the offensive coordinator. It's the offense that we would assume it's going to be at least very similar to the offense that he has been running in Green Bay. So he knows it, and Lazard knows it. And if they do sign Randall Cobb or any of the other guys that we talked about, they would know it as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But I think the value of having Aaron Rodgers sooner rather than later for the Jets is to be able to infuse a little bit of that championship DNA, that championship culture on a team,
right,
with core players that doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the postseason. Like, we usually don't see teams just show up and go from not being in the playoffs for a decade on end to being a Super Bowl contender. The Bengals got close,
right,
but it's hard to figure out how to win different ways when it matters most. There is a learning curve associated with winning championships, and that's the value of getting Aaron Rodgers in the building with the players and coaches and being able to create that type of environment where you get the best out of your people and you have that kind of urgency that it's going to take to win a title.
I'm with you. We need it for that reason, and we need it just so I can sleep at night. There are any number of reasons why we need this. Okay. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.